connect to a PLC target. So in order to do that, we'd go to the target and we'd look in the inspector. If your inspector is not up or you can't find it, just go up here and say Apply Theme and go to Logic Developer PLC. And I'm going to close some of these windows so you can see it better. Now I check to see where the port is set up to, and it's always defaults to COM1. Well, mine happens to be COM3 because I'm using a USB to serial. If you don't know which one yours is using, what you could do is go into Properties, which COM port you're using, go into Properties and look at the Hardware Device Manager and go down to the USB, or excuse me, ports, COM and LPT setup. And here you will see that I've got this device at COM6. Now it used to be at COM3. So, and the reason that is it moved because I plugged it into a different port. I'm going to plug it in to the port I normally use, and you'll see it'll change back to COM3. So it's now at COM3. I had my remote mouse in at that first USB or COM6 in this case. So it's at COM3, and I'll go back over here, select COM3. Notice it was COM6. I'd have to add or remove, and this is where you could go in and put a higher COM port number. So it happens to be COM3. I'm going to now connect to the target, so I hit the lightning bolt. If you got more than one target, you have to make sure that this is the active target. So it's plugged in to the CPU and it should connect, and it does come up and it has a fault. That F means it's got a fatal fault. Well, we're going to clear that because it's got a different configuration in it. So then I can store it down to it, and since I don't have any logic, I'm just going to store the hardware configuration. I'm not going to write to flash. It's going to clear the fault table. So it's telling you down here in the feedback zone what's going on. If you have any errors, it will show that up. This is going through a serial connection, so it's going to take a little longer. So it comes up and says it's complete. It's got one warning, and it just tells you you've got some new configuration faults exist. The F has gone away. It's no longer a fatal fault. So if I right click, I can go and look at the diagnostics and see what's going on. So I'm looking at the controller, and it tells me I have a loss or a missing option module. I'm just going to go ahead and clear that, and I want to see if anything's in the IO fault table. So it looks like everything's good. Now I'm going to go offline, so I hit the lightning bolt, and now I'm going to connect via Ethernet. Now in order to do that, I do not have an IP address in there, so I'm going to go to offline commands, put the MAC address in, put the IP address that's in the hardware configuration that we did earlier, and select the interface. If you have more than one IP address in this, and it looks like it's not even recognizing it, so I'll just leave that off. So I'll say set IP. If you get this error, then make sure you're in stop mode and try again. So if you've had success, it will tell you your IP change was successful. After about 3 attempts, I would probably go get a cable or recycle power to the unit. This is really set up. The set temporary IP address is really meant to be used on new systems. If you have an operating system, you wouldn't want to put it in stop mode in order to do this. So you would probably want to find out what the IP address is. Another thing, let me go ahead and exit this. Another thing you need to check is your network connection on your computer that you're using to do the programming. Notice that I put a static IP address in there. So this is the subnet that I have on this computer. So I have to be on the same subnet also with this. So I used a straight cable to the switch on the ETM card in order to connect this. That is a switch, so you can use a straight or a twisted pair cable. Okay, let's see if we can connect to it via Ethernet now. So I go here, and it does let me connect. And notice it put the IP address in. Now I cycled power to it, so it came back with the default configuration. So I need to download this again. Just download the hardware. And 0 errors. Notice I've got a red X, and that means that the config is equal because it's green, but the red X means I got one thing not equal, which is logic. And that's what we'll do next, is put some logic in there on the next lesson.